A new ad released by the Trump campaign may be the racist ad ever. Now, I'm going to show you that ad right now, and then I'm going to break it down, but I think it'll be pretty clear why I say that when you see it. Watch.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please step out of the hallway.
If it's dead, somebody will break out soon and I'll kill more. See, the only thing that if I can regret is if I can just kill two. I wish if I can kill more of those motherfuckers. I'll kill more cops soon.
He says he wants to apply for pardon for the felony he committed. Attempt of murder.
Wow. Okay then. So that video has been seen by millions of people so far. I mean, I guess I'm having a hard time really kind of figuring out where the hell to start. I mean, you got images of you know, supposed immigrants crashing through barriers. Oh my God, they're going to get in, and the Democrats want them to get in, and the people that are the murderers and the cop killers, that's who the Democrats want. None of that is true. None of that is true. But they make it look like it's an invasion. Of course, they want you to think about the caravan, right? The immigrant caravan. The people that are escaping Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala, that are escaping actual violence. They want you to think, I should say, that they're going to come here and they're going to do violence on you. And that they're going to replace you. So that's why this is an incredibly racist ad. Holy hell, man. I mean, again, it asks, who else are the Democrats going to let in? They're going to let in ISIS? They want you to think, they want you to be afraid, right? It is nothing but fear, 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 fear. I don't even know if that's our border that video is from. It's probably from someone else, or from some other place with some other completely different context. That's what they do. They take videos out of context and they use them to spread fear against immigrants here at home. So that's what they do, right? The immigrants are coming. They're gonna come kill you, right? That's what this ad is, and it paints all immigrants like the guy in the ad, like Luis Bracamontes. Which, by the way, the guy's a piece of shit. So of course nobody wants him in the country. Democrats don't want him in the country. If you do a crime like murder somebody, yeah, of course you should be deported. Now that guy is basically on death row for what he did. Now, I don't agree with the death penalty in any context, but you can't argue that we haven't, you know, tried to deal with that guy and giving him what he's, a lot of people, especially a lot of people on the right, think he deserves. But anyway, again, this video, this ad, it's not even a dog whistle anymore, right? This is a human whistle. This is straight up racist fear-mongering. But you know what's more dangerous right now than undocumented immigrants? Than the so-called caravan? Right-wing domestic terrorists, right? Like the guy who sent over 15 devices to prominent Democrats. No, but the devices didn't go off, Jeff, so it doesn't really count. Okay, what about the man who killed 11 people at a Jewish synagogue based on, you know, oh, the caravan, because that's some of the stuff that he retweeted, right? The social media stuff. Oh my God, it's the caravan. And the Jews are funding the caravan, so I'm going to go take care of the Jews. Screw the optics, I'm going in. That's what he literally said, his last message, before he perpetrated the shooting, right? Not only that, there's a story that wasn't reported that happened this week, right? Where you had a man that tried to shoot a black church. He couldn't get inside, so then he went to a Kroger that was nearby and just randomly shot 2 different African Americans. And they're still trying to figure out if it's a hate crime or not. Well, I would say. And all those things just happened last week. In total, we've had 154 mass shootings this year. You know how many of those are from undocumented immigrants? How many? How many? None. None. Zero. Zero. In fact, a lot of the violence that we have seen is from right-wing domestic terrorists. According to an analysis of crime data by the Anti-Defamation League, white supremacists and other far-right extremists were responsible for 59% of all extremist-related fatalities in the United States just last year. 59%. That is a sizable number. And over the last decade, from 2008 to 2017, 71% of domestic extremist-related killings in the U.S. were linked to right-wing extremists. That's the facts. That's the reality. We are getting far more attacks and violence from the far right than we are from anyone else in this country. Now imagine the Democrats release an ad today or tomorrow before the midterms that highlight all the killings by these right-wingers with the tagline, "Republicans don't want to ban white men." Do you know how many heads would explode? Now, the Democrats, of course, would never do that, and I wouldn't advocate for that. But at the same time, these are the people that get mad at Don Lemon for saying, hey, you know, why aren't we banning white men? I mean, if we're going to ban Muslims, and if we're going to ban, people coming from Honduras and El Salvador, undocumented immigrants, ban them from coming into the country, well then, I mean, why don't we ban white men who do most of the violence? White right-wingers who do most of that violence. Now, they flipped out over that. They absolutely, like, oh my God, how dare Don Lemon do that? What a racist. Again, imagine the outrage, right? But the thing is that if they did do an ad like that, they wouldn't be wrong. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. But there are a lot of people on the right that do. And they do it all the time. On things like immigration. Now, this ad is getting some pushback. Now, even some from some Republicans, but of course, these Republicans are Trump critics, right? For example, you had Arizona Republican Senator Jeff Flake. Now, he said, quote, "This is just a new low in campaigning. It's sickening." Well, Jeff Flake, you might not be familiar with the past, with past Republican campaigns. Are you? In fact, this has been the Republican strategy for years. This is, and I'm dubbing this the Southern Strategy 2.0. It's not the first time they've done something like this, right? Now, instead, of course, like the first Southern strategy, campaigning on scary black people coming to the polls, no, what they're doing now is they're campaigning on scary Mexicans coming into the country. Instead of scary blacks, scary Mexicans. Southern Strategy 2.0, guys. And of course, they're doing that while ignoring actual data, actual reality, and any of the numbers that I just cited when it comes to right-wing domestic terrorism. Which, by the way, Donald Trump and his campaign, and his administration has basically taken away, defunded government agencies that actually look into right-wing domestic terror. It's almost as if they're protecting right-wing terrorists and saying, oh, no, it's okay, guys. No, go ahead and go out there and do terror attacks against, immigrants and Jewish people and blacks. Go ahead and go out there and do that. That's the message that they send. Now, this ad has been compared to another ad from the 1980s, Willie Horton. Now, the Willie Horton ad, I think until now, was considered the most racist ad in history. Now, that, of course, was done by the George H.W. Bush campaign back in the 1980s when he was running against Michael Dukakis, right? And they said, oh, Willie Horton, dangerous, dangerous guy, the murderer, right? Well, you know who let him out? so he can murder more? Michael Dukakis. He pardoned him. Or paroled, sorry. He paroled him. And Republicans seized on that. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run this ad. And we're going to fearmonger the shit out of this. And you know what? It worked. We didn't have President Dukakis. No, we had George H.W. Bush. Fear-mongering works. Fear sells, guys. They ran this nonstop. And now this ad, this is Willie Horton 2.0. And it may actually even be worse, right? Now, again, I'm going to go to some tweets here from, obviously, Trump critics. We've got Robert Reich, right? I wasn't around for, I wasn't in politics when they ran the Willie Horton ad. But there's some people on here commenting who were, including Robert Reich. He said, this may be the most desperate and vile ad since Willie Horton. Trump and Republicans don't want to talk about the fact that they plan to repeal the ACA, gut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and cut taxes even further for their donors. So they've resorted to fear-mongering. Absolutely correct. They won't run into giant tax cuts because it only benefited rich people. The economy, but the economy grew by 3%. Inflation grew by 2.7%. Wages are essentially flat and stagnant. While jobs, but the unemployment rate is down. Yeah, but the quality of job is not very good, okay? In fact, right now, 62% of all jobs don't make enough to support a middle-class lifestyle. 62%. That's why we have a shrinking middle class, along with the death of unions, which, of course, is being shepherded in by Republicans, and they want to even create a national right-to-work law. So they're crushing unions. They're giving their donors gigantic tax cuts, deregulation, and of course, what have all these corporations spent their money on? Well, they have spent it on stock buybacks, which they immediately cash in and put right back in their pocket. That's what they're doing. So they don't want to run on any of that. Oh, no. Let's run on fear. Let's run on fear of the other. Right? Now, here's the thing, right? I've got more tweets. John Harwood said, as you recall, Bush campaign distanced himself from the Willie Horton TV ad. This is coming directly from the President of the United States. From dog whistle to guttural scream. That is accurate as fuck. Absolutely. And look, is Trump going to ever move away from this? No, of course not. He knows exactly what he's doing. Saying Trump, he's an idiot, but he's a pretty good PR guy. He is his own PR guy. And so he goes out and he spreads this and he talks about this. And look, he wants this election, this midterm, to be a referendum on himself. He thinks that if I excite everybody that voted for me in 2016 to come out, well, then I'm going to win the election. Or at least the people that I support are going to win the election, right? I don't know if that's going to work. Then again, we've got the Democrats over here, Pelosi, saying, oh, no, we're going to win. Don't worry. She might as well just put a sign up and says, stay home, Democrats. Everything's going to be fine. We got this in the bag. Ridiculous. That's the difference. Trump is actually a good campaigner because that's what he likes doing. He likes talking about himself. You have to be a bit of a narcissist to be able to run for office and to be actually good at it. Well, the Democrats, they suck. They're terrible at campaigning, terrible at messaging, but or at least are better on policy. In fact, right now, buried headline, Democrats, as soon as they get in office, want to start passing anti-corruption legislation and things to strengthen the Voting Rights Act, to bring it back to full strength, to not disenfranchise people. Now, that's not on the front page because Democrats have no idea how to fucking message. I think that's great. Running on an anti-corruption platform is amazing. Why are there no ads out there saying, we are against corruption? Because, that, again, that's what a lot of these right-wingers run on. Donald Trump ran on anti-corruption, anti-establishment. Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil ran on anti-establishment, anti-corruption. All these far right-wingers that are getting into power, what are they doing? They're fighting against the establishment. They're fighting against anti-corruption. Democrats aren't doing that. They're not doing that at all. And of course, a big component of a lot of these right-wingers is they run on fear, right? Not only fear of the other, but of course on anti-corruption. So they should be able to make that case, spread that message, but they don't because they suck. They suck at messaging. And I laugh because it's so flippin' obvious. Okay, but there's more. Jim Roberts. Trump continues to stoke the first of fear and racism with the new ad that accuses Democrats of plotting to help Central American invaders in the U.S. Eric Umansky said, 30 years ago, George H.W. Bush released his infamous fear-mongering racist ad on Willie Horton. This Trump ad is worse, far worse. I would say it's right in line with what the Democrats, or I'm sorry, with what the Republicans have been doing to the Democrats for a long time. And what did you expect? This is balls to the wall, fucking hardcore politics, right? This is the kind of politics that Democrats are afraid to play. They're afraid to play. They won't do it. They won't play hardball. They insist on playing patty cakes with Republicans, while Republicans will come in and slap them in the face. Maybe it's time, I don't know, they stop doing that. Maybe it's time to actually be tough, run on issues that actually people fucking care about. Like, again, anti-corruption. That's great. Keep running on that. Keep running on anti-corruption. And how about you add in Medicare for all, you know, single-payer health care, and a living wage and free college while you're at it. And there are a lot of Democrats that are. And I think in the midterms, as long as people come out and show up, they're going to slaughter. So, and that brings me to my last point, right? Get out there and vote. This motivates the Trump base. This motivates them to get out there. You need to get out there too. Or else these guys who put out these ads are going to continue to win. And they're going to continue to basically destroy the country in order to enrich their donors. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.